G'day guys, welcome aboard the VSKY Labs A22LS FOXBAT. This is video number 2, and as I said in my first review of the aircraft, previous to having a chat and waiting for a reply from VSKY Labs, who have since been kind enough to get back to us, they have indeed addressed in a private message about several of the issues that I pointed out, and they said they are and will be addressed in future updates of the aircraft. So we just have to wait for those. So hopefully not too long. So a big shout out to VSKY Labs, the team out there. You guys are awesome, and yeah, what can I say? Apart from the fact that this is a very well modelled aircraft, as I said in the last video. I have since painted it, and I've done up the RAOS registration for Recreational Aviation Australia 24757, which was FOXBAT 7557, which was the first ever FOXBAT registration that I flew in to learn. And it's the first ever FOXBAT registration that I flew at Bendigo Airport to do my first ever solo, and that was an amazing evening where my instructor, after we'd been flying most of the day, he told me to taxi back out to runway 35 and put the parking brake on at the hold point. And as soon as we got there, he looks at me and he says, you know what this is. And I said, yeah, I do, mate. And he goes, right, well, you've flown absolutely amazing today and the whole of last week, and all good things are rewarded. And he said, it's your aircraft. He said, get up there and have some fun. And I tell you what, best feeling ever to be able to take one of these for a solo as my first ever aircraft, because I tell you what, it was fun. I must say it was fun. We were supposed to be flying Cessnas and all the rest of it, but you get that when people decide to rip people off and all that. You end up flying something different, but that's all being taken care of in due course. Now, without further ado, we are going to jump into this aircraft here. Just going to open the door for a minute. I love the F-mod sounds when you open and close the doors. That's really cool. So obviously we're just going to make sure our fuel taps are open. Beauty. Our battery master, just got to, unfortunately the battery master is all the way down here, and it's just got to make sure that seat, that's off, that's on. So we'll just make sure the battery master's on. We'll go ahead and turn the master key to the on position, and we'll turn our avionics on. Just making sure our park brakes are on. And obviously those before flight things should have been actually in, so as you can see, they're in near the control column near the yoke, and also down here as well. Okay, now just having a read of that, and this aircraft does have a ballistic chute. Now I'm not sure whether that is actually inbuilt in the flight model, but we can only try it, I guess, once we get up in the air. So let's go ahead and we'll go and turn on our nav lights. Internal lights, you really don't need them at this time of day. So let's go ahead and turn on our mags. Okay, turn some carby heat on. Obviously didn't really need the choke, but that's okay, because upon speaking to VSKY Labs, they have said that that all of that will be modelled at a later stage, which is great. Great news to hear, and among other things, future variants. So I'm guessing that the A32 Vixen could be on the way as well. So at a later stage. So I'm not saying it is, but sounds like some promising news there. So guys, as we can see, here I am at Bendigo Airport. Alright, obviously there's no buildings because I am working on this airport, so that's another story. Just, you know, give you a rough idea, because we needed a proper Bendigo. Alright, so at the moment we got the runways done, all of that, got the taxiways, got to do taxiway signs and whatnot. Parking spaces are almost done. The buildings are all but modelled. I've still got to get up to Bendigo and do a few things, but going back to the FOXBAT here, as I said, I've put a registration into the FOXBAT and painted the first one I ever flew. So we're going to take it up right now to so we'll go out to runway 35, because I tried bringing it in on runway 05 earlier, and it was the biggest mistake I ever made because of massive crosswinds, and I literally almost lost it. I got blown sideways. It was quite funny. I didn't actually show that in a video, but I'll do another video with crosswind landings at a later stage. So here we are taxiing on Delta. And we're not going to bother going all the way down to runway 35. To the other end, we're going to okay. Right, now this is the reason for parking on the angle, is so you can see any inbound traffic and all the rest of it too. So that was one thing we were taught, as I mentioned in the first video. Okay, let's turn our strobes on, turn our landing lights on, brakes are open. Our brakes are off. We'll leave our carby heat on. And VSKY Labs did tell me to try and get this to stall, that we can add a little bit of input trim. So we've got our little trim tab down the bottom, so we'll use that once we get up into the air. We are taking off flapless today. I've got to use right rudder to keep the aircraft straight as per the real deal, so that's fantastic. Great to see that we've got to use the right rudder. Okay, airspeeds are live, and we are up off the runway in Bendigo. Circuit height in Bendigo is 1,700 feet. Airport elevation is 700 feet. And for whatever reason, we're just going to have to quickly do a pause to flight configuration weather manually configured. Apply, because that's X-Enviro that just came in then. I wanted Cabo K specifically for this tutorial because the reason being I need to be able to get up to altitude to be able to do a stall. So we're going to turn right heading now, and we're going to head out, follow the highway to the Bendigo training area, which you can see over just to my left hand side of the aircraft, just off the nose. And we've got the training area out there at Bendigo, i.e. the training area at a lot of aerodromes has less build-up areas than a lot do, but Bendigo, mostly upper Bendigo, in the Bendigo area is forest. It's all national forest, state forest and all that, so it's all goldfields. So we're going to head up to around about 3,000 feet, and we're going to attempt to do a stall. And my input trim, I'm just going to see how we go with it. Okay, so we'll just hold that there. Just don't want to add too much. Okay. So as you can see, we're approaching the training area now. And if you trim your aircraft out properly, your aircraft out properly, it virtually flies itself in these things. And that's one thing I must say, that this is, the trim tab might need just a little bit of an adjustment actually. Because in the FOXBATs, okay, so we're getting up to altitude now, 3,500 feet. So we've got a little bit of trim in, so let's hold it steady. Okay, we're starting to vibrate. Put a bit more trim in. Not really liking it. Ah, there we go. Okay, there you are. So we actually had to manually do the trim, and that was a lot. I had to virtually turn the trim all the way to the back. So I had to basically tune the trim there pretty much all the way, guys. So that actually shows a good stall there. But that was obviously putting in heaps and heaps of trim. Okay, so that was that. So at least we know it does stall under forced conditions. So obviously, you know, you're gonna have to work on that one. But that's okay. Actually don't mind that at all. Okay, so we're just going to head back to Bendigo now. And as I said, you know, you trim this aircraft out properly. like, and it just virtually flies itself. I got no hands on the controls at all at the moment, except for just adjusting the trim, and just adjusting the trim. It's virtually flying itself with very little control input at all. So that's very, very close to the real aircraft. I'm really pleased with that. So, guys, at the end of the day, it is a great aircraft. Obviously, as I said, upon having a chat to VSKY Labs when they got back to me via text message, which was very quick, might I add. Absolutely, really fast time on the for getting back to back to me on that one. I'm glad they enjoyed the video there. Now, obviously, my landing in that was not really that great. So on the way in, I just want to, well, now that I've got that happening, details of Bendigo, 170, wind is from 170, so runway 35 is active. So we're going to have to come in on runway 35, which means we'll have to join the downwind from the 17 end. And being on the VSKY network, we'll have to contact the Unicom. So we'll just leave that happen there for a moment. I want to go 122.8 active comms, because we're only on the Unicom here in Bendigo. Yeah, Bendigo traffic, FOXBAT 7557, returning from the training area. Estimated ETA Bendigo, time 5:07 for the downwind, and circuit join runway 35, FOXBAT 7557. Okay. So that's pretty much that. That's my radio call done and out of the way. That's how I would do it in the real world, which is fantastic. Obviously flying on VSKY is just awesome, because you know, it's pretty much as close to the real thing as you're going to get anywhere. So let's start our descent now. Sorry about the sniffles too. I've got a bit of a sniffle at the moment with my sinus, but that's alright. So we're going to descend now to the circuit height at 1,700. Going down, but I must say now that we've actually found out that this can do a forced stall under forced conditions, the guys at VSKY Labs, if they can get the algorithms right with X-plane and Laminar, in general, the algorithms obviously will hopefully be able to be tuned at a later date, and once they're tuned, then you won't actually have to input trim, like reverse trim, to be able to stall the aircraft, because we should be able to just do it just by flying the aircraft and then just holding the nose straight and backing off with the airspeed, letting the airspeed wash off. Okay, so yeah, we're almost on the early downwind, so we're going to notify Bendigo traffic that we are coming in on the downwind. And traffic Bendigo, FOXBAT 7557, early downwind for the full stop runway 35, Bendigo traffic. And hopefully my landing this time around can be a lot better than the last one, because I'll tell you what, man, that was a shocker. Absolute shocker. want to try and, I'm 100 feet under, that's pretty bad. I should be 1,700 and just holding it there. So 1,700 or thereabouts. It's supposed to be plus or minus 50 feet. So I've got the runway off to my right hand side there. For whatever reason, this has gone back to doing its own little thing with the weather. I did change it to manual, but it's for some reason the X-Enviro algorithm has completely just taken over my X-plane. I'm not sure why, but yeah, that's just another. That's for another video. I was in high anticipation of this aircraft when it was being developed. When I heard that VSKY were actually developing this, and mainly because I knew how to fly it. I learnt how to fly in it. This and the A22 Vixen were a massive, massive part of my flight training. And whilst we've been chatting there, we've just gone way too high, so that's okay. Just bring it down. We're only in a simulation environment, so it doesn't really matter. So that's alright. Got the motorbike, BMX course, sorry, over to my right hand side, so we're going to start turning right. Slow right-hander. And there's the sunset. I remember this when I was doing my my first ever solo. It was fantastic. My instructor let me go up by myself at sunset, and I'll never forget that moment. It was great. The September of 2017, 21st of September 2017, and yeah, what an amazing afternoon, what an amazing day it was, and yeah, just so good. Can't wait to go back to Bendigo and give the circuits another crack. Right, so we're going to make a look right, look left, got no traffic. We'll make our right hand turn now. So runway 35. Bendigo traffic. 7557, we are on final runway 35. I just came in way too quick too. My airspeed was supposed to be really slow coming in there. Way better landing, which I'm absolutely feeling great about. That was awesome. So we'll just roll down to the next exit. One thing you've got to watch out with Bendigo, with the runway effect and everything, you do get blown left when you're coming in runway 35, and when you're coming in runway 17, you get the same effect, so you do go left. I think it's because of the amount of thermals that are at Bendigo, so that is actually simulated very well. This aircraft is really the flight characteristics, except for that stall thing. Everything else is fantastic. Especially, yeah, the runway effect and everything. That was great. I enjoyed that. That was a great landing. But being able to have an aircraft that replicates the real deal, and being able to tell you guys that, yes, this aircraft is, you know, almost where it needs to be, and to be able to actually tell the developer that this aircraft is, almost as it needs to be in the real world, it's fantastic. So they've done a great job. Big shout out to the guys at VSKY Labs once again. Thank you for doing the A22LS, and I look forward to the further updates of this awesome flight model. So until the next video, guys, this is Captain RJ, and I'll catch you guys again soon here on the leading edge.